NFL panel is here. It's a trio of DraftKings contributors, Reid Fowler, Geoff, Ulrich, and Julian Edlow, here for NFL Best Bets. Guys, we're going to continue our look at NFL team specials ahead of the 2021 regular season. So let's just do it. On Monday, we started looking at some team specials in the NFL. So we're continuing, starting with the Seahawks. Now, Russell Wilson and company won their division last season, going 12-4 before losing a wildcard game against the Rams. So do you think they can have an even better regular season? Lock up the number one seed this year. The odds of it happening are plus 900. Are those good enough to get behind this, Geoff?
I think they are, actually. The Seahawks tend to be a team that people just kind of forget about, that they're in the NFC. I mean, everyone just assumes the Rams are the class of that division, but the Seahawks, for all their issues, I mean, they weren't good on offense in the second half of last year, but regardless, they won their division. Their rush defense improved. They've improved their back end a little bit by adding Ahkello Witherspoon and at corner. I think that's going to help them, assuming he can stay healthy. And then you've got a new OC there in Shane Waldron, and all reports are that it's making Russell Wilson very happy. A bit more fast-paced, quick-throwing offense where Russ is going to have a little bit more flexibility. I definitely think that the NFC is up for grabs. I don't think the Saints are going to be a factor. Is Tampa going to be good? Sure. Could there be a Super Bowl hangover? Yes. I think Seattle is definitely a team that you can look to who's going to be in contention for the one seed. And a plus 900, I'm pretty interested in this. So yeah, I don't mind this bet at all.
Geoff, you interested? I'm sorry, Reid.
We do look alike, Jesse. Geoff and I do look alike.
I mean, we get this all the time, Jesse. It's okay.
Winning.
Couple of gorgeous golf gurus, right?
Look at this guy. Hosts a podcast. Now he's hosting the show. He's trying to take your job, Jesse. No, I'm going to disagree with my twin brother there, Jeffrey Ulrich, in Canada. I do think it's the Rams, and I get what he's saying, right? But Seattle, they're just in a tough division. They're an extremely tough division, and I'm just going to lean towards the Los Angeles Rams. Look, they improved clearly on offense with their quarterback, and they had a top 15 rush offense and a top 15, top 10 pass offense, but they didn't score a lot of points. And I think that was a lot to do with Jared Goff. Now you bring in Matt Stafford, they have a top 5 defense. I'm going across the board with these guys with the Rams. I think plus 1,400 to win the Super Bowl is a solid bet. The conference at plus 650 to get the number one seed at plus 500. And to win this division at plus 190. So I just really like the Rams when you have that good of an offense, along with one of the top 5 defenses coming into the season.
All right, Julian. Reid can't get behind this. Geoff can. What about you?
I'm not going to get behind it, but that doesn't mean that I don't like Seattle. I just think them getting the Seahawks getting the one seed is a little too tall of an ask. And part of it is, like both guys said, this division is tough. The Rams could win the division, the 49ers in second, the Seahawks third, and none of those 3 teams are the top seed in the NFC. I think that the schedule for Tampa, and Tampa being the first team in the salary cap era to bring back all 22 starters from a Super Bowl team, that's pretty good. I don't want to get in the way of that. Aaron Rodgers is back in Green Bay. Not that I necessarily think they are the best team in the NFC, but just there's too much going on here to say that I want Seattle, especially within that division. So what I do like is I do think 3 teams from this division could easily make the playoffs. I'll lay the minus 130 on Seattle making the playoffs. I don't want to get greedy. Just look at Seattle since Russell Wilson was drafted in 2012. They've made the playoffs 8 times and missed once in 2017. Seattle minus 130 to make the playoffs. That's what I'll do. I don't want to get greedy with the seeding.
Next up, the Tennessee Titans. They added Julio Jones in the offseason, so let's take a look at a special concerning him. The DK Sportsbook has minus 200 odds that A.J. Brown and Julio Jones to combine for at least 2,000 receiving yards. Reid, are you as confident in that happening as the odds makers?
But Julian not getting greedy. Up is down right now. Left is right, Jesse. I don't know what's happening here. This is the parlay king. He loves getting greedy, so I think he's turning over a new leaf. For the new season. Oh, yeah, maybe that's Bukes. I get you guys mixed up. You guys are also 20. Maybe
Steve is a huge sucker.
Yeah, we all know that. Look, this one's it's hard to bet against these guys, right? We know what both of them can do. What concerns me, Jesse, is look at the last 3 years, how this offense has operated. In 2018, second in run play percentage, and in 2019 and last year, they were third. Now, that's also without Julio Jones, but that's with Derrick Henry. And if you look at Ryan Tannehill, while he is an efficient quarterback, 11 games under 250 passing yards last season. So there has to be a momentous shift to make this happen. And that momentous shift is Julio Jones. So I'm probably talking myself in a circle here. He was on pace for over 1,300 yards receiving last year. He only played in 9 games, averaging around 85. By the same time, it's just tough to predict that both of these guys, even if like the odds and the odds makers love the books love this at minus 200, that's a lot of juice to lay for these guys. If one of them goes down with an injury, you can never project that. It's just tough, especially with what you got, with Derrick Henry. Now, do they throttle him back next season? I don't think by much. So I'm going to stay away from this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if both of these guys are Pro Bowlers.
Julian, are you staying away or maybe interested here?
Not only am I staying away, give me the no option at plus 150.
Ooh.
2 good wide receivers, sure. But when you're betting season-long overs, that means you need a player to stay healthy. Geoff and I talked about this on the show yesterday. And when you're combining 2, now you need 2 outside physical receivers to stay healthy for the season. And obviously, 2,000 is a little bit low. That's why you have to lay minus 200 on the over. If you add their season longs together, I think is it 75 yards or 175 yards above this? But we need both of them to stay healthy, and we need both of them to have 1,000-yard seasons essentially, or be right at that number. I just think it's too much to ask. Julio, like we said, played in 9 games last year. The last time he played in every game was 2018. I'm pulling up AJ Brown now. He was injured last year, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a little banged up.
14 games. And he was he's been right there, 1,051 yards, 1,075 yards in his 2 seasons. So what the math tells me is that this number's right on. They should be right there. If they both play in 14, 15 plus games, I just don't think it's going to get there. I would take the plus money on the under.
Geoff, you agree with your boy, Julian?
I mean, I agree with him from the perspective of this bet is essentially you're just betting on the health of the receivers. I think this total is low enough where if these guys play 13, 14 games each even, they're going to hit it. I mean, Julio had over 750 yards in 9 games last year. And I know he's going to a different offense. And Reid alluded to the fact they like to run. But Tennessee is very efficient in the pass. And, even on lower pass attempts, Julio's probably going to be a guy who, if he plays 12, 14 games, is going to go over 1,000 yards. A.J. Brown, we know the possibilities are limitless there, too. I mean, this is a player who, if he plays all 16, 17 games, he could hit 1,400 yards and set career highs. There's definitely a possibility of that happening. So I actually don't think the odds are terrible here. It's just, do you want to invest in the health of these 2 players? I don't really want to, but maybe you're a big Tennessee Titan fan. Maybe you're just a fan of these 2 players. I don't really think it's a bad thing to do. I think the odds that you're getting a very low total here that, again, if these guys stay healthy, they're going to smash this. So interesting prop, not for me, but I don't think the odds are off or anything.
All right, guys, Drew Brees is gone, but the Saints still have Alvin Kamara. New Orleans lost to the eventual Super Bowl champion Bucs in the divisional round last year, but you can get plus 800 odds that they can take the next step and make it to the NFC Championship this season. Jules, do you like those odds, or is the loss of Brees too much to overcome here?
No, I do not like these odds. I'm not going to bet the Saints to make it. First of all, I love the fact that we can bet teams to make their conference championships on DraftKings Sportsbook. I love the idea of that. You have a team, you don't want to get in the way of the Bucs in the NFC or the way of the Chiefs in the AFC, but you think they have just enough to get there, like the Bills last year. I like the idea. The Saints are not the team that I am using this format for. Just because they have a shifty running back coming back into this offense. Jameis Winston will turn the ball over. We've seen it over and over again, and that is going to kind of just take that offense backwards. Michael Thomas, not healthy once again. The Saints lost a lot at wide receiver. So Alvin Kamara better be planning on having, 2,500 yards combined this season if the Saints are going to be going to the NFC Championship game. There's just not enough there. They're losing pieces on defense to health, suspensions. They just had one of their top cornerbacks retire yesterday. I actually bet the Saints at minus 115 to miss the playoffs this season. So you got to make the playoffs to make the NFC Championship games. That's going to be a no for me.
Geoff, plus 800 odds, the Saints can make it to the NFC Championship. How do we feel?
I mean, look, Julian pretty much laid out everything I was going to say. This is a team I do not want to bet on having success next year. A guy just retired. Michael Thomas is like a black cloud hanging over this team right now. And then you've got Taysom Hill and the Jameis Winston thing. Like the quarterback situation might be like the fifth like worst thing about like it's not even like the biggest deal they have to deal with right now. And it's still going to be a huge area of concern. I like the not to make the playoff bet right now. Their season win total is actually off the border. I'd say go bet the under on that. But I like to miss the playoff. I think it's at minus 120 now. There as well. So there's no way I'm taking this team to bet to make the conference championship. They're losing players on defense now, which has been their strength. And their offense is just a huge question mark without Michael Thomas and with the new QB. So this is a team that I think everything is headed in the wrong direction right now.
Reid, everything headed in the wrong direction and you staying away?
Yeah, just go with one of the NFC West teams. I think that's just a better bet. And like this guy's alluded to, the defense also takes a big hit. Alvin Kamara's like receiving rushing prop sits at 1,500.5. He's going to have a huge season. Just take him like number 1 or number 2 overall in season longs, and that's all the Saints exposure that you should have.
All right, finally, let's take a look at the New England Patriots, who in their first season without Tom Brady missed the playoffs for the first time since 2008 last season. In an uncharacteristic move, a lot of money was spent in the offseason by Bill Belichick, and there's definitely more optimism in Foxborough. So one team special for New England features a running back and a tight end with plus 275 odds for the combination of Damien Harris over 839.5 rushing yards, plus Jonnu Smith over 4.5 regular season receiving touchdowns. Geoff, do you like that number, or is the uncertainty in New England's offense just a reason for you to stay away?
Well, look, I mean, obviously we've been talking about like combo player props a lot on here. And for as far as like ones that we've talked about, I like this one a lot more. Like I like it more than the Julio AJ Brown prop. First off, we're getting plus 275, so the odds are way, way better. Damien Harris, the guy who averaged over 5 yards per carry, he had over, in 10 games that he played last year, the Patriots gave him 14 or more carries 6 times. This is a player they've committed to. In my opinion, he's most clearly their most talented back. And I feel like the Patriots are starting to assemble a sort of a like Tennessee light offense where you've got a quarterback who can do a little bit of run pass option. And now you've brought in a legit red zone option in Jonnu Smith. 8 touchdowns last year. Even when he was lightly used in Tennessee, he scored 3 touchdowns the year before that. I think he's going to be the Patriots' main red zone guy. So touchdowns are the variable here. The Jonnu Smith prop is the big variable. You've got to get a little bit of touchdown luck, but I really do feel like the Patriots are going to be featuring him in the red zone. And I think if Harris stays healthy for 12, 14 games, he hits this easily. So I like the odds you're getting here. Again, these are fun combo props. I understand, these can be tough. You're betting on player injuries, but I really like this one. I like the over here.
Short on time, guys, so got to make it quick. Reid, what do you think?
No, Sony Michel, James White, they're still there. Hunter Henry, I know he's banged up in training camp, but still, like, how do we have any idea how these guys are going to deploy their offense? I'm staying away.
Julian.
I will sprinkle on it, but the Jonnu Smith part makes me a little nervous. He had 8 receiving touchdowns last year. Yes, Cam Newton also threw 8 passing touchdowns. So getting a player to 5, like we're going to need Mac Jones in there at some point, makes me a little nervous. Damien Harris part, I want this bet individually. Damien Harris over his rushing yards, like Geoff mentioned, 10 games, 691 rushing yards last year. He's going to be the guy. I don't care about Sony Michel. James White might not even make the team. Keep that in mind. Damien Harris, the lead guy for 17 games, if he stays healthy, he's going over his season-long rushing props pretty easily.